In the wild, mysterious depths of Brittany, France, sits an old abandoned shack. Surrounded by ancient oaks and home to all manner of forest dwellers, it is here that we meet to share our stories. So pull up a seat, swing that light, grab your favourite beverage as we share another tantalising tale in the freaking shack.
Welcome to the shack.
We'll cut that out.
What? Welcome to the shack.
not the welcome bit before that.
Not the welcome bit.
Yeah, if you've just come in and we've just said welcome to the shack, then you missed a lot. It's fine.
Yeah, you missed loads.
Oh dear, it's fine. Oh, my ears just cleared.
Oh, has it?
Yeah,
That makes a change.
yeah. I'm ill again. I'm sorry.
She's always ill.
I'm sick. I've been sick for a long time, to be honest. In many ways.
I am so sick.
Yeah, well, all the children are just full of yuck. And half the adults now as well, so it's wonderful. We're all loving it.
Yeah, passing it all around.
Yeah.
Sharing.
Yeah. Share and share alike. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you tell children they have to share. Yeah. Sometimes I'd really wish they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just need to learn to keep things to themselves.
Yeah, like germs and vomit and things.
Yeah. Projectile vomit I've seen enough of over the last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. This week I have been mostly covered in. No. Thankfully they missed. I'm not sure they were aiming, but...
No, dear of them.
Sometimes
Right.
I feel like they are.
Oh, well, this week we actually managed this week's podcast from like today.
You mean the one that went live today?
We had one go live today. So it is the 23rd of January. I nearly said September. That would have really...
I would have really messed things up.
It would have messed my head up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 23rd of January and our latest podcast has just gone live. It has got much better audio.
Thank goodness.
I'm so pleased.
You've been working hard.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have to work that hard on this one.
It does help when technology works with you.
Yeah.
And not against you.
The thing is, we knew... Oh,
Put that there.
I dropped my notes. We knew that we had a chance with using 3 different recording options.
We did try to edge our bets a little bit, didn't we?
We did. So this week, we've got 2. The 2 that are the most reliable. And we're going to try with these 2. Hopefully we'll get at least one good one from it.
We're keeping everything crossed.
We are. Including our legs and our fingers.
Yes. Because we've got the wine and we may need to pee halfway through this episode.
We do have wine again. White wine this week.
White wine this week.
A Sauvignon.
Not quite as pokey as the one we had last week.
It's a 12. I mean, it's only a little under last week. Last week was 13 and a half.
Yeah.
This one's a 12.
It's a standard white. So.
Yes.
Oh, beep.
Very nice.
Our watch went beep.
Yes, Steph's beeping. Phones are all turned off, thank goodness.
Yes.
But
my watch still beeps on the hour.
the watch still beeps. Okay. We have such an exciting evening this evening.
We're going off the rails.
We are going off the rails. Totally off the rails. Because we are talking about, and this is going to make Steph smile, London Underground.
I'm sorry, does anybody remember that absolutely crazy song that they used to sing about the London Underground? I swear we had it as ringtones years ago. But it was rather rude. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cleverly written.
Very clever. Rather amusing. Explicit language. Yeah. But very funny.
Yeah. If you're not from the UK, maybe you haven't heard of it before, and maybe you wouldn't get all the...
There's a few digs, isn't there?
There is a few digs in there to certain people. But yeah, we've just listened to it and we were roaring, but I'm afraid we cannot play it. But if people want to go online and find it, it's very rude.
If people would like to find it, it is down. You can find it on YouTube. and you can put in London Underground song, and it should just come up on its own. But the song, oh goodness me, I can't even say it. It's by Amateur Transplants. There you go.
There you go.
You can find it there, but I'm not held responsible for the language that you're about to hear from it if you do search it.
Yeah. Right.
We won't have that language here.
Not quite.
Not quite that bad.
Not as strong. But we are going to have some language because, as in normal language.
I was going to say, yeah, normal language.
To communicate with each other. Because we are going to be talking, we're going to dive deep into the London Underground.
Of the irony, of the depth.
I know.
Of the London Underground.
Yeah. And I've got loads of notes. They're sort of a bit all over the place, but I have made loads. So if I flit from one to another, it is because I suddenly realised that I've got a note on that somewhere else written. And I've tried to mark it that there's notes everywhere. Right.
That's all right. We'll tangent as we go. It's not
yeah. But otherwise, I think we're going to jump straight in.
You might want to take the stairs. It's a long way down.
It is a long way down. Lift. Escalators.
Yeah.
I have to remember that LU stands for London Underground, not Lou. Lou is known for its rich history. There you go.
Lucky umbrella.
It could be. Yes, we could go.
Lucy the unicycle. I don't know.
Lucy the unicorn.
The unicorn, yeah.
Lollipop the unicorn.
Leprosy uncovered.
Lucky underwear. Have you got your lucky underwear on today? I wonder.
Leopards Unchained. Oh dear. Okay. London Underground. We're there.
We're there.
Carry on.
London Underground is known for its rich history and eerie ghost stories. It opened in 1863. Bit of a history story here. It helped to reduce the congestion in the streets. But a rivalry of railway companies broke out. And between the two companies, they became rivals instead of partners. It's typical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, just work together, please.
Just get over yourselves.
Just get over yourselves, yeah. This delayed progress of the growth of the railway. The first tracks were called subsurface lines, and these were for steam trains. And it wasn't until 1870 when safe tunnelling of the deeper tubes below London was possible.
Ooh.
But they also had like electric trains as well. So they had safe lifts that would take people down to those depths. Mm-hmm. And they had electric trains because you couldn't have steam trains.
So you couldn't have steam trains down there. It'd be
you'd
choking you all up.
Yeah, exactly. So it was lots of practicalities. The practicality of a successful tube railway didn't come about until the late 1880s. And this is where it discusses when safe electric power and lifts were invented. There you go.
So before that, you were taking the stairs?
Quite possibly.
Well, I'm guessing they weren't quite as deep.
No,
then.
to start with, they were like those subsurfaces. So they were a little underground. So they would dig a trench, basically, is what I was reading. And then they would cover it up, but they wouldn't necessarily cover up the whole of it. So sometimes like you could see out towards the river or something. So there was air circulating all the time, which was why it was steam trains. It was slow going for development of the underground transport as investors were cautious because it was all very new. And it was only 10 years later before tubes were actually open. An American investor helped to raise money for further development, and new links and lines opened in 1906 to 07.
Ooh.
And this completed the main modern tube system. In 1908, the companies began to work together.
Got there in the end.
Yeah. eventually merging into the network that expanded, supporting a soaring population.
Oh, yeah, of course, because...
Yeah,
Yeah.
The more good transport you had, the more people were coming in, the more jobs there were. So it was just an ever-growing city.
Spiral of prosperity.
It was at the time.
Yeah.
The oldest underground line is the Metropolitan, which was opened in 1863.
Wow. Is that still running?
I think they still use the Metropolitan line, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. The deepest tube
I'm
line...
assuming they've done some updating.
Yeah, I think so. A little bit. Yeah. The deepest... I think people in London would say not enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true, yeah.
The deepest tube line is the Northern Line, which runs down to 58.5 metres.
I'm not surprised, because have you ever gone to one of the stations along there? Because, like, you are walking downstairs for, like, days.
Yeah. Or you have those huge escalators. Anybody who doesn't use the metric system, just multiply...
Do you mean the metro?
Sorry?
Metric.
Because...
Sorry, you're about to say the...
Yeah.
As in metric, sorry.
Yes. As in 58.5 metres.
I'm with you.
If you multiply that by 3, that's about how
that'll
much...
generally, yeah.
That'll give you roughly how many feet that you go down. So quite a way down.
Quite a ways.
The Liverpool Street Station was built on an ancient burial ground, and it was called the Bedlam Burial Ground. And it was a mass burial site used between 1569 to about 1738.
Wow.
And the train stations and the tubes run right through the burial ground. Is it any wonder
that weird stuff goes on?
That weird stuff goes on down there. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. It includes, the burial ground included a plague pit that has mostly been excavated by archaeologists. So I think a lot of the bodies were moved, but even so.
Not like in Poltergeist then. Where wasn't that one?
No, yeah, they didn't.
They moved the headstones, but they didn't take the bodies out.
They didn't take the bodies out, yeah.
So that was just flagged up in my head then when you said they didn't take the bodies out.
Absolutely, yeah. So needless to say, Liverpool Street Station is said to be the most haunted of the London tube stations and is said to be plagued with workers in white overalls. And I had to look this up to find out more because that's all it sort of told us. And so I've got this was the basic stuff I got, and then I'll go into the deeper stuff. The ghostly worker is seen often wearing white overalls and looking as if he is walking to work, carrying his box of tools. During the update of the station in 2000, he was apparently captured on CCTV.
No way.
Yet when underground staff searched for him, he had totally disappeared. When I started looking a bit deeper into this, the man in white appears when the station is closed. So that's why they sort of notice him, because he shouldn't be there. But he's always seen on the same platform, as if he's catching a train on the Central line.
Right.
So he's always on the same one. He was once seen on CCTV, and the station controller sent over a member of staff to find out who this person was, as he appeared not to be a member of staff. And as the place was all closed up, there shouldn't have been anybody else there. But the member of staff making their way over there found absolutely nobody on the platform at all. I think he'd already caught his train and gone.
Yeah, yeah.
But apparently he is seen so often that they call it, they're plagued with seeing this worker in white at Liverpool Street Station.
I mean, it must be quite frustrating if you actually have to clear this and close the... Do you know what I mean? If you have to close it up and it's like you have to make sure everyone's out first. Yeah. And you've just seen somebody on CCTV, you're like, oh, now I've got to go down there.
Yeah.
I've got to check it out. I've got to make sure that no one's there.
Yeah. But I think he had been seen before, but obviously it wasn't until 2000 when they added CCTV that then suddenly he was caught on CCTV. Yeah. And I don't think they were recording at that time. It was only used as a visual to sort of check lines and platforms and things. But yeah.
Have they named him?
I don't know. They ought to.
They should.
Yeah. The man in white, Charlie or something.
Yeah. Charlie
Barnes.
See, now I've just got over the hedge. Let's call it Steve.
Let's call it Steve. Oh dear. He can be called Steve. Lots of people are called Steve.
Absolutely.
Steve, the man in white. One of the scariest things about the underground is that there is a warren of hidden tunnels and passages that most people know nothing about. Most of them are disused now and lay dark and foreboding to anyone venturing along them. I do know that certain ghost hunters
have done investigations.
Lots of investigations down there, and I'm sure if you go to YouTube and look them up, you might get a few more ideas of what it's like down there. These tunnels and passageways are not open to the public and are rarely used. The tunnels are at South Kensington on the Piccadilly line, and they were built to house a new section of line, but it was eventually abandoned. It says an eerie and frightening apparition. Oh yeah. It was an eerie. I'm checking other notes. That's what I'm doing here. The eerie and frightening apparition is seen at South Kensington's abandoned station. A man wearing, you're going to love this, wearing a peaked cap is seen clinging to the side of a phantom steam train coming into the station to the sound of a loud whistle.
Oh my word. So there is a sound of a loud whistle.
Yeah.
A steam train. A phantom steam train coming in.
Yeah.
And some guy in a hat attached to the side of it.
Yeah. It says here, I looked a little bit more into this because I was just like, a what? Excuse me? It appears that the train slows down for passengers to alight. Right, to get off, basically. But the train fails to stop. The man clinging to the side of the engine looks eager to get off. I think I would too. But he can't. And the train rolls out of the station with a shrill whistle again and disappears into the dark tunnel opposite and vanishes without trace.
Mental.
And it says here, before disappearing into the tunnel, on the other notes, the sound of the loud whistle blows again before it disappears into the tunnel. And then apparently just disappears out of sight. So 1 minute you can see it, and then it goes into the other tunnel, and then it just disappears.
Weird.
I would imagine the sight and sound is like something from a nightmare. Apparently it was first seen in the 1920s by a commuter waiting for the very last train. This is why when this station was still working in the late 1920s, he was waiting for the last train, and he realised something wasn't right when the train that obviously he wasn't catching, this train had appeared with this bloke hanging on the side of it. But he felt something wasn't right when the train disappeared into the other side of the station and just disappeared into thin air without a trace.
Yeah, that would be weird, I've got to be honest.
The train itself, from descriptions, never existed.
What?
Yeah.
So we're not even talking about like an old train that...
Yeah.
Right.
They can't pinpoint a train. Whatever it is that has been seen on this train cannot be traced to a real train.
Wow.
It's not seen very often, thank goodness, but there is a report of a sighting from 2013.
Wow.
So, between those two dates of the 1920s and 2013, I mean, talking about 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did it just not appear in between then?
I don't know, but it's abandoned down there now, so
Yes, you
maybe
wouldn't know.
it comes and goes. Who knows?
Who knows?
Oh my goodness.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Very, very weird.
Very weird. So those were my notes, my extra notes on those. So we're now moving on. Before I take a glass of wine, we didn't swing that light.
We haven't done the story yet. We were just doing the history. We might, I don't know.
It's pretty much all stories.
All right.
Covent Garden. If you are wandering around Covent Garden tube station at night and catch a glimpse of what looks like a well-dressed gentleman in Victorian clothing, you'd be forgiven for thinking that he was off to a fancy dress party or there for a cosplay convention that might be being held locally. But you might be surprised that you've just witnessed the sighting of the spirit of William Terrace.
Ooh.
William was an actor famous for playing heroic roles. Unfortunately, he met a tragic end.
Do we know what the tragic end was?
Yes.
Yay!
I'd found out for you
Brilliant.
after you being very frustrated last time.
It does annoy me when they go, oh, we met his tragic end. It's like, well, what happened to him?
Right, I'm going to tell
find
you.
out.
Unfortunately, he met a tragic end by being stabbed to death by his friend, Richard Archer Price,
Some friend.
who was an out-of-work actor.
Wow.
So,
Just for the record, friends don't do that.
yeah. And he was actually stabbed outside of the Adelphi Theatre in 1897.
I'm just going to point something out to you
Yeah, go on.
that you might find interesting.
Go on then.
You know that silver tape you were looking for?
Yes.
It's on there.
Oh! Where did that come from?
It's got nothing to do with the underground. Sorry. But I've just seen it.
We've been all day looking for our silver gaffer tape. And Stephanie has just seen it. Sitting.
Like, right in front of us.
Like,
I'm pretty sure it was there last week too.
I think it might have been.
I think it was. That's quite funny.
Well
I'm
done.
sorry. There you go. I found that for you.
I thought you were going to say something really, really interesting to do with the Adelphi Theatre.
No, I know nothing about that. I'm sorry.
We're going to find out more about it. I'll tell the listeners in a minute.
Go ferret.
Our shack pack. Because, yeah, he was outside of the Adelphi Theatre. There is a plaque now there telling us about William Terrace, the actor. And he is said to haunt the theatre.
Ooh.
As well as the station in the underground at Covent Garden. 2 places at once.
Wow. Busy guy.
Yeah. Although he is said to haunt the theatre, he also visits the area of the station where he would buy his favourite bakery bites on his way home. So there you go.
I need to find out how close these two things are.
So what we are thinking of doing is doing another delve into haunted theatres
Yeah.
in a few weeks' time. So that one will be coming up because that sort of sparked off another idea. So yeah, haunted theatres in and around the UK. There are hundreds of
Is there?
theatres and hundreds of ghosts.
Ooh.
So there you go. The last reported sighting of William, is it William? Did I say William? Did I? What is the day? It is William. Was in 1972. But has he been seen since? I'm sure there must be many unreported sightings. Have you seen anyone described like William around Covent Garden tube station. He is actually buried in Brompton Cemetery, and a memorial plaque is situated outside the Adelphi Theatre's stage door.
That's
There you
very
go.
cool.
So you may have seen him and not known that that's what you were looking at.
I'm looking for the Adelphi Theatre and I can't see it. I'm clearly not in the right place. I'm not in the right place at all.
No.
And that's totally because it's not put in Covent Garden railway station. It's put in Coventry. That's why.
The Adelphi Theatre is not
It's
in
not
Coventry.
in Coventry. It's not found the right place.
No.
Sorry.
So, the next one, you're going to love this.
Go ferret.
You're going to love this. Holborn Station. Holborn. Holborn Station. Straight out of a horror movie, this
Ooh.
one.
Like it.
The ghost of Amun-Ra.
Oh,
It is one of the more chilling tales of London Underground.
it's all I keep thinking of now is Amun Ra, Amun Day. And it's that stupid quote from The Mummy when she's reading the Book of the Dead. And she's and says about how it speaks of the night and of the day. So
also known as the ghost of the mummy.
there you go. See? And there had to be a link there somewhere.
The story tells of a cursed Egyptian artifact. The mummy is said to be the Princess Amun-Ra. The story begins late in the 1800s when a group of 4 affluent young Englishmen visiting Egypt purchased an elaborate inscribed mummy's case in Thebes. Soon after their acquisition, strange occurrences plagued them.
Ooh.
Dodgy ends here. One was shot accidentally by an Egyptian servant and died. Don't think they tell you all of them. Another met with a premature end through bankruptcy.
Yeah, how do you get bankrupt to death?
I'm sort of assuming he unlifed himself.
Oh, I see.
I'm sort of assuming. It does not say. Unless it was somebody called Bankruptcy who came and killed him. I
There
don't
you
know.
go. Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, death by bankruptcy.
Yeah.
That was what they were called.
His name was Mr. Bankruptcy. No, it wasn't. He had a very sad death and went bankrupt, while the other 2 faced similar tragic fates. Now, similar to what? Similar to getting shot, or similar to
Going bankrupt.
going bankrupt or unlifing themselves? I don't know. It does not say. The mummy was dubbed cursed, as they
As they
often
do.
are,
Yep.
and finally ended up in the British Museum. The real terror began when the coffin lid containing the mummy was moved to an exhibition in the late 1900s. Passers-by claimed to see the ghost of Amun-Ra drifting through the corridors of the underground stations in London. Sightings began in the old British Museum station, which was closed in 1933. And when that was closed, the sightings began at close by Holborn Station. Rumour had it that there was a secret tunnel linking the Egyptian room of the British Museum to Holborn Station, giving Amun-Ra a means to vent her rage at being unearthed and being put on display.
Ooh.
Her screams of anger can be heard through the tunnels.
Sod that. Oh, blimey.
And reportedly, they have seen an Egyptian princess adorned with a magnificent headdress stalking the passageways in and around Holborn Station.
As a princess, how do you stalk exactly? What is she stalking?
I should imagine she's
Is
walking.
she just slightly?
No, she's walking very fast with her arms going backwards and forwards.
So she's a power walker now.
A power walker. You've got it.
That's not stalking, though, is it?
No,
It
but
just seems a very odd word
she's not
for them to use.
She's not stalking people. She's not like creeping up on people.
So,
She's like
we should be videoing this.
with all the arm movements and
Stalking.
yeah. If
Oh,
only,
you get
if
the idea.
only we could bring you the video. Is Steph trying to walk like a mummy,
Like a stalking mummy.
a stalking mummy, looking like looking like an insect. What's the insect? The stick insect that like.
I don't know what connection you're making with the movements I'm doing and a stick insect.
Perhaps it's not a stick insect.
No.
What is it that's got like grippy?
That would be a praying mantis.
That's it. A praying mantis. That's what her hands look like.
Oh my god.
Not that it's got anything to do with mummies.
It's got absolutely nothing to do with
perhaps
anything.
the praying
It's just-
mantis is a mummy.
I mean, the praying mantis is pretty deadly, so,
Yeah.
I mean, not to us, but as predators go, they're quite nasty. They
So,
can be dangerous to
Maybe
us.
Almond Ra is walking around like a praying mantis, dressed in her magnificent headdress, stalking around the stations.
Female mantises are quite dangerous. So,
Yeah,
I
there you
mean, as associations go, it's not a bad one for her,
No,
I need more wine.
we definitely need more wine. Right, King's Cross is where we are next. King's Cross.
He's really cross.
He's very, very cross. Right, following the 1987 King's Cross fire that started with the discarded match which caused a fire under a wooden escalator. Don't know if you wouldn't remember this. And the rapidly deadly blaze quickly spread, turning into a fireball that engulfed the ticket hall.
When was this?
This was 1987.
Oh no, I wouldn't remember that.
No.
I was 3.
Yeah. I was just
I was
three.
not paying attention, I'm sorry.
It was horrific, actually. Really horrific. It killed 31 people.
Wow.
But since then, a mysterious spectral woman has been reportedly sighted since the fire. She is described as a young woman with long hair wearing modern clothes. She is believed to be one of the victims of the fire and seems to roam the station in considerable... I don't know what I've written here. In searching... She seems to be searching for help or assistance.
Distress?
Distress. I would imagine it is. Considerable distress. And in search of help or assistance. Sad.
Yeah.
Really sad.
Yeah, it's terrible anyway when you look at any kind of disaster like that. And for it to be presumed to have been just a discarded match.
Yeah.
Literally just...
Yeah. But
It's so easy, isn't it, for
Yeah.
something like that to just happen?
the thing was, at that time, these huge escalators were all made of wood. So you can imagine how the...
I mean, a fantastic feat of engineering, to be fair.
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, you're going back to the Victorian age
Yeah.
when they were first sort of built. I don't think there's any left. I don't know for sure, but I don't think there's any left now because of the
Smoking?
well,
I mean, yeah.
I don't, because of the risk of fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is... When you imagine, like, where these escalators and stuff were, and the fact that this was underground, any kind of fire in that kind of situation, like, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Because, there's only really one way you can go, and the fire's going with you,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, apparently that's what happened. is that people were rushing to get up the last bit of the escalator to get out, and the tunnel that the escalator goes down into caused like a chimney effect.
Yeah.
You're going to moan at me now for saying
Chimney, yes.
But it caused a chimney effect, which allowed the fire to draw,
yeah.
and caused this fireball, which happened then up in the ticket office.
Wow.
Of course, the people that had got to the ticket office and got off of the escalator were then caught in the fire at the top.
Crazy.
Not nice. But
what a way to go.
if you see a very
good.
sad woman walking around King's Cross railway station
Give
on
her
the
a
underground,
cuddle.
yeah,
My
give her a
word.
hug. The next one is Bethnal Green. Bethnal Green is one of the deepest underground stations and was used during World War II as an underground refuge during the bombing of London.
That was you. I didn't
was.
do that. It wasn't me.
People flocked here when the warning sirens went off in 1943. This particular day, in a panic to reach safety, they were trying to get down to what was then an unfinished station. So
Right.
it hadn't been opened or anything, but it was there. So they were making their way down. More and more people poured into the narrow stairs during the blackout. So it was dark outside. They obviously have to be careful about light showing at the top of the underground.
Yeah, light
there.
discipline and things like that were
So
needed, yeah.
so there was no lights, and a woman tripped on the stairs
Oh my God.
and caused a cascade of people to fall down the stairway. Within moments, people were crushed and asphyxiated. Even more tragically, it later emerged that the siren was a test
Oh my God.
and no bombing occurred.
Oh, that's horrible.
And you can imagine that most of the people trying to get down these stairs were either older people, women, and young children.
Yeah, I was going to say, people just trying to
Yeah.
keep their little ones safe.
Yeah.
You know, older people who are struggling potentially with mobility issues already without trying to climb down hundreds of stairs. Oh, it's just horrible.
It doesn't bear thinking about. Ghost stories around this event linger to this day, most prominently through the sounds and experiences reported by staff and commuters. It's said that late at night, station staff have heard echoes of children crying and women screaming, evoking memories of the victims.
Oh, it's horrible.
Other stories tell of passengers feeling sudden chills and an overwhelming sense of sorrow whilst descending the stairs where the stampede occurred. It's believed to be the spirits of those lost in the crush who remain, creating an atmosphere of lingering grief and unrest. The interesting thing that I found, though, was that it's interesting to know that the underground itself is well known for producing infrasound. It's a sound that is below the range of human hearing, and it's believed to cause all manner of unpleasant effects on the human body, from nausea to disorientation.
Oh, so it's like a frequency.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. And it can cause very disturbed feelings of unease. So they do say be aware of the fact that the underground is well known for causing this. So could that be
a contributing factor towards people's experiences?
Yeah, the actual feelings.
I mean, I think that's fair.
You know, I think you have to look at all aspects of these things, and it was interesting to find that little piece of information around this ghost story in particular.
There's actually a guy, I read about him in French newspaper, actually. And he was doing experiments to see how sound responded on different surfaces. And it's quite interesting that, I was literally reading about him the other day, and he's done an exhibition,
Right.
where he's talking about how sound is influenced by different textures, different surfaces, and
Yeah.
different things. And he puts like these very, very, very sensitive sensors onto items, and then monitors the occurrences in the materials. And but has he done the London Underground? Because that would be interesting.
It would.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the last of my stories. An interesting aspect of what you're just saying was, I can't remember which program it was, but I know that they were doing some interesting, might have been something to do with Danny Robbins and Uncanny. I'm not sure. He's got a fantastic podcast if you want to listen to exceptional ghost stories. Danny Robbins and Uncanny, they're produced through the BBC, and there is in actual fact a BBC TV programme coming up sometime in the next few weeks, where he does an investigation into a ghost story, and he has scientists who try to explain it in scientific terms, and he also has people there who then try to give their idea of it because they are experts in the field of paranormal psychology.
Great to hear both sides.
It is absolutely fascinating, but I will do a link to his podcast.
I was going to say we should probably give him a link because...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I seem to remember there was a programme, and I think it may have been Danny Robbins that did this. I can't be certain. But they had this huge, hangar. So with an arched roof over the
plane
top.
hangar.
It was huge, absolutely massive. But what they did is they put speakers all the way down the sides of the hangar, facing into the centre of the hangar.
Right.
And then they asked college students from a local college or university that were interested in the paranormal or that type of thing to come along and be taken into the hangar. They did not tell them what they were supposed to feel or anything like that.
Right.
But they took them in, and then they turned on the infrasound.
Right.
And then they got them to tell them afterwards, did they feel anything? I think they might have told them that it was supposed to be haunted.
Oh, right. Okay.
But they didn't tell them about the sound. Something like that. Anyway, it was really interesting to hear them say, and I think they then tried it without the sound or something to try and get a comparison. I can't remember exactly, but it was really interesting. And the fact that even, I'm sure it was Danny Robbins himself who actually went in by himself, and you can't hear anything.
No.
That's the weirdest thing. You
Yeah.
cannot hear this sound, but it can really make you feel ill.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I want to have a go.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting indeed. Anyway, that's the last of our stories for now on the London Underground. I do believe that there are all sorts of paranormal investigators who do a lot of work in and around the underground stations, and it might be worth a search to find somebody who you enjoy watching.
I'm totally interested to know if any of our listeners, I'm sorry, I was half choking when I said that, if any of our listeners have seen or heard any of the paranormal phenomena that we've talked about. So the guy clinging to the side of the train, the guy in white,
the actor,
the
with
mummy
with his cake in his hand going home. Anyone
Anyone seen them?
Or heard anything weird?
Anything? Anyone got family members that have said they've seen?
I mean,
any of this?
I've travelled on the underground many times at different times of the day and night. I can't honestly say that I ever saw anything, or, you know, apart from weird people.
Well, I think that's just London in general, really, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. But nothing that I would have called paranormal. And I'm normally quite tuned into these sorts of things. But you also, when you're a woman travelling on your own, because I was quite young at the time, I was, you know, in my early 20s. And mainly you're just watching out for yourself all the time.
pretty much your mind is not exactly on the tuned in paranormal aspects.
No, it's much more about
Self-preservation mode.
Yeah, it's about who's following me. Is there anyone following me? How close is that person behind me? Is he likely to do anything? I was accosted once.
You were?
I was on Paddington Station when I arrived in London.
Was it a bear with the meringue
No,
sandwich?
it was not. It was some bloke asking me if I wanted to go back to his house in case I didn't have anywhere to live in London.
Oh, that was daft.
Yeah. It was very daft, actually, because he followed me for so long going down towards the underground. I knew where I was going. And in the end, he was just like, have you got anywhere you could stay tonight? And I was like, yes. Trying not to give too much information away. And he was like, have you got people meeting you? I was like, no. And he was like, oh, well, I can help. And I thought, yeah, I bet
I'm sure you can, yeah.
And in the end, I said to him, yeah, I have got people that can help me. I'm actually on my way to the police section house. I'm joining the Metropolitan Police. And with that, he disappeared into the crowd.
Amazing. Yeah, funny that. Might want to think twice.
Yeah.
On that one. Might not be the brightest spark you've ever had.
Yeah. I was only 17 at the time.
Wow.
18. Just 18, maybe. So I was 18. So I was just 19 when I passed out.
Wow.
I think he was trying his luck.
Good effort.
It wasn't going to get him anywhere. But hey-ho, there you go.
Honestly, there are some real sods out there, aren't there?
Yeah, there are. Yeah. Yeah, you do have to watch yourself. I mean, we're going back to 1977 here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
it's not a new thing, is it?
It's no. And I'm sure it happened even before that. So, yeah, take care of yourselves, people.
Yes, keep your wits about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's some of our ghost stories in the tunnels.
In the tunnels.
Yeah.
I went to a place called the Tunnels. It was a bar in Aberdeen.
Was it?
It was brilliant.
I bet
Absolutely
it was.
fantastic. If you've ever been, it's absolutely amazing place to go. I got to go and watch live music in the tunnels.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it was brilliant. The acoustics were amazing.
I bet they were, yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Mind you, that's why a lot of buskers and things
Yep,
work
absolutely.
down in the tunnels.
Great place for music, yeah.
So, yeah, because the music sounds amazing. You can hear it for miles as well.
Yeah, a lot of singers love to be down in places
Yeah.
like that because it does just give that chorus to a voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool thing to do. So yeah, anyway, there was a place called the Tunnels in Aberdeen, and it was a rather lovely visit. And it's nice, good for music. We like it.
So, watch yourself in the London Underground tunnels, though.
Yeah,
Keep your wits about you.
keep your minds open
And
your lamps lit. And we will see you again next time.
At the freaking shack.
Bye.
Bye.
Find us on all our social medias. Email fshack03@gmail.com. TikTok @the.freaking.shack. Instagram @the_freaking_shack. And Facebook is the-freaking-shack. All those free kings are without a G. And our little web page is at fshack03.podbean.com. We look forward to hearing from you.